G'day beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at my rework idea for Gadget, and this is actually one that I'm kind of excited for. But before we get into the video, like usual, I would like to say that when I do these rework videos, I do look at the character's history, and I also look at other community members' suggestions. In some cases I go along with some of those suggestions with perhaps some tweaks, and in other cases I will not. If I do provide any feedback on anyone else's ideas, it is not me ridiculing that person, and it is not me telling you to ridicule that person. That's not cool. Let's all stay civil and get our ideas out there. As far as my ideas go, my intention is to be as inventive and out there as possible, but in a lot of instances there are going to be parts of heroes' kits that are going to stay pretty much the same because it does actually suit them. I will be giving every hero a passive, and I will also be suggesting quests because I love the idea of quests. Quests are an objective given to an ability, like hitting X amount of heroes with that ability, and upon completion you get a buff. In my idea, players will choose an active ability, so that is one of their 3 main abilities, not their ultimate, at the start of a match, and they will get a quest for that. They will also have a quest available for their passive in every single match. So keep in mind that I do try to at least make all 4 quests, their passive quest and their 3 ability quests, seem balanced, but all my suggestions may very well need major changes to actually be balanced within the game, because I do base them on the idea of only having 1 passive quest and 1 ability quest per match. So especially if it was a situation where all 4 were available, definitely things would need to be tweaked. But with that said, let's get started. So I've always had a pretty poor opinion of Gadget. I've never really enjoyed her too much, which is a pretty general statement. I have had matches where I've very much enjoyed playing her, but overall she's never really been my thing. I will concede that when she's played very well, she can be an absolute menace, but it's my opinion that she is not just an easy hero, she's a very easy hero, at least as far as entry level goes. My intention today is to change Gadget up via a new ability, some tweaks, and quests to have her be what is known in Heroes of the Storm as a specialist. Specialists in Heroes of the Storm are described as heroes that do various things that aren't necessarily covered by other roles. They can be siege heroes that do massive damage to bases, or highly mobile heroes that provide lots of map vision. Perfect example of Paragon hero that suits being a specialist is Iggy and Scorch. And if you watch Sylphan's videos, you may have seen his rework idea for Iggy that is actually based on a specialist from Heroes of the Storm named Gazlo that excels in controlling areas. So starting off with her basic attack, I would suggest that her power scaling lines up with my suggestion for Gideon, sitting between tanks and supports at around 0.4. So when it comes to her passive, I struggled a little bit, but I settled on Biotech. Allied minions that die within 1,000 units of Gadget empower her basic attack against enemy structures for 5 seconds. Now keep in mind that this timer may be too short. Without access to the game, I can't know for sure. Also keep in mind that although overall the ability may seem too strong, she is a caster, so she has a low basic damage power scaling, and I base my reworks on the idea that basic damage and ability damage in the item shop will be kept separate. So it's not like this is being given to, a carry. It is a caster, she will be building ability damage, so it's just going to be a little buff onto allowing her to do more siege damage. And for the quest, I went with, after last hitting 100 enemy minions, Biotech's timer is reset with every allied minion death, meaning that she can keep the buff going as long as minions continue to die within the 5 seconds. So Gadget will start to get this buff to take effect when she's on a tower. Tower starts attacking minions. As they die, she gets this buff, which I don't really know how much it should be. Obviously, there has to be a lot of testing involved in that. And then with the quest, as long as minions continue to die, which they will because they're on the tower, she'll keep this up. And the only other thing I would suggest is that it would have to be percentage based, just so that it can stay consistent and fair at all levels. Because obviously, if you were to say, give her 200 extra damage on a basic attack. That will be too weak at level 20 and it'll be too strong at level 1. So moving on to a first ability, which is Sticky Mine. As far as the base ability goes, I'm not suggesting any changes, so the stats you are seeing are not changed. What I have done, however, is to suggest a quest that changes the mine up quite a bit. After landing 25 mines on enemy heroes, Sticky Mine can disable structures if damaged by a Sticky Mine. Towers will re-enable after 2 seconds or when an enemy hero is attacked. And by that I mean, if you or any of your allies are within tower range and you attack an enemy hero, the tower will come back online. I did that just to make sure that there is it's not helping tower diving, because I have no intention of making tower diving anywhere near as bad as what Epic Games did. So this means, obviously, as I said, if your Sticky Mine explosion lands is near a tower, damages a tower, it will stop shooting for 2 seconds, allowing you to stretch out your damage window. I think it's just it's not super duper strong. Other suggestions I've seen is like a secondary explosion on Sticky Mine, which I think just pushes it too much, pushes out too much damage. I think this, it doesn't add extra damage per se. It just allows you to extend the window in which you can stay in tower range, because your minions aren't being attacked for 2 seconds. Next up, we have a new ability. I've replaced Seek and Destroy with upgraded weaponry. I was never a fan of Seek and Destroy. It was a finicky ability that, it could do a little bit of damage and slow enemies down. Just didn't really think it was too great. So Gadget selects an allied minion and buffs its damage by 20 to 50% for 7 to 10 seconds. So this would be a soft lock on ability, and it simply buffs a single minion's damage for a set period of time. May not seem too strong, but it does allow her to buff a single ranged minion by 50% for 10 seconds at max level, which should be enough to get that wave slow pushing towards enemy structures by itself, while she leaves to slow push another lane. This will save her a good amount of time over the course of a match and allow her to put twice as much pressure on the enemy team, making her an amazing split pusher. It also allows her to get back to the group quicker to help in team fights while the wave pushes itself. This will be made even stronger with the quest. After buffing 30 minions, upgraded weaponry will also buff the minion closest to your target. So this means that if you were to use this ability every time it's off cooldown, at a little over 10 minutes, this quest will be complete. You can then buff a ranged minion and have the minion closest to it also be buffed, which will make the wave push a little bit faster. Both the ability and the quest buff will also be increasing potential siege damage. As far as cooldowns and mana costs go, I have no idea whether my chosen times or mana costs are good enough or are too strong, but it's all about the idea. The third ability is going to be Speed Gate. As far as the base stats go, I have increased the speed boost from 45 to 50% at max level, and I've increased the duration of the buff to 5 seconds from 4 seconds. The major change again comes from the quest. After 100 allies pass through Speed Gate, allies will also have their attack speed buffed by 20% for 5 seconds. I know, possibly super strong, but once again keep in mind that this is based on only one ability quest per match, so this can't be combined with Sticky Mine's quest or upgraded weaponry's quest. It will, however, give her the ability to ensure more siege damage and or buff her team in a team fight. So you can imagine how easy it would be to get a lane pushing in your favor. You buff a ranged minion and also have this quest active. So you're buffing a ranged minion, which will give it 50% extra damage and for 10 seconds. And then you are speeding up the whole wave, which is increasing the whole wave's attack speed by 20%. So it's a pretty strong wave. It's easily going to push itself very, very fast. Finally, her ultimate Tesla Dome. Not suggesting any changes here, as I think it was in a good place. So now instead of having a very easy caster with a long range poke, we have a siege damage split pushing specialist mage. Good in a team fight, great damage, potentially unmatched pushing power and siege damage. is if Gadget is in a match on the other team, she will have to be dealt with, and you will have to pay attention to your lanes, as they will more than likely be pushing against you. The only issue I really have with any of my suggestions is that I'm not sure that upgraded weaponry's buff, quest buff, really stacks up against the other two. So let me know if you have any opinions on that. Overall, it may seem like a very strong kit, but it is my intention to suggest a rework to at least one other character soon that will counter Gadget in some way. But that's Gadget, that's today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, smash the like button, leave me a comment, let me know what you think, and subscribe if you're not already. With that said, thank you so much for watching. I love your face, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.